If you are engaging a financial advisor and the financial advisor does not start off with tax returns, social security statements, the short-term, mid-term, long-term goals are going to be, if they're not doing that first, then, and they're just, trying to just get your money and invest, that is a huge red flag. You shouldn't work with those types of folks. Have you ever wondered, what is it like going through a comprehensive wealth management process? What is it like working with a fiduciary certified financial planner? Well, you're in luck. Today, we're going to be walking through what it's like to work with a fee-only fiduciary like myself. I'm Eric Rodriguez. I'm the founder of Wealth Builders LLC, and I'm going to give you a flavor and a little preview of what it's like to be a client of mine. And the purpose of this is so that you can see what a true life-centric and comprehensive experience should look like, and also what it shouldn't be. So for example, if you are engaging a financial advisor and the financial advisor does not start off with learning more about you and what really drives you and trying to figure out where your resources should align with first, if they're not doing that first, then, and they're just, trying to just get your money and invest, which a lot of advisors, that's what they do, or they're trying to sell you a life insurance product, or they're trying to sell you an annuity or something like that. That is a huge red flag. And in my opinion, you shouldn't work with those types of folks. Not saying they're all bad, but ideally there's a huge conflict of interest because they only get paid if they sell you a product. Even if the product made sense, they have no idea if it really aligns with your plan, if it's something that you even need. In its simplest fashion, when you come on board with my firm, and I have other friends, other companies that do something very similar, but once we get this initial conversation out of the way, then after that, we move into what's called a relationship fit call. And that relationship fit call really gives us an idea if we're all compatible. I always say when you work with a financial advisor, it's almost like getting married. So you want to make sure that you really, really get along with this person, that you vibe with them. You're going to be spending a lot of time with this individual, hopefully. And so you want to just be smart about it and do your due diligence. I always recommend you should be interviewing at least 2 to 3 other advisors just so you can get a sense of fees, personality, flavor, process, all of that. Once you decide you want to become a client, then we're off to the races. So we have a quick kickoff call and we get you organized with our financial planning software. I try to get as much information as possible, tax returns and social security statements, things of that nature that we need to start building out your plan. Once we have that set, then we're going to completely pivot to more of a life-centric experience. We want to make sure that we're addressing your priorities. And so one of the ways that we do that with clients, I'm going to share my screen here. I give them a couple of different exercises that they can use. And so one of the first exercises that I give clients is I give them what's called the Wheel of Life. And that's what we're looking at here. The Wheel of Life, basically, it helps you assess your growth and development into all these major facets in your life. So family, health, leisure, learning, inner growth, home, community, work, finances. These are typically the facets that people are trying to improve. And so what happens is I have clients rank these. So the closer to the middle, that means you're completely not satisfied. And if you click higher, that means you're feeling really, really satisfied. So as an example, you might have someone come in and I can look at this form, and once you connect the dots, it'll make a wheel, it'll make an octagon, it'll make the letter D, who knows? But what it unveils to me as your financial planner is whether or not you have balance in your life and whether or not you're really, truly living your ideal, most fulfilled life. Because one of my goals as your financial planner is to make that happen for you. Use the resources that you have and align it with this life that's worth living. And you're the only person that can determine that. So this tells me right off the bat, whether or not you are comfortable with your finances, your health, your work, etc. All these different categories. So what it does is it drives conversation. And in our meeting, I might ask you, okay, so you scored a 3, essentially 3 out of 10 on your finances, why don't we walk through what that looks like? What does a 10 out of 10 look like from a financial perspective? And you're going to tell me, well, I wish I had this, that, yada, yada, yada. And we're going to go deeper and deeper on that. And then maybe it's community. Maybe you're not feeling the community you have. Maybe you don't really enjoy the home you're in. Maybe you want to spend more time with your family. Maybe your work is a drag, or maybe you're just ready to retire. So these are conversations that we're going to have, and we're going to figure out what this looks like for you. And so this is a really quick and easy exercise. Then one of the things that we do is we paint this picture and we get a sense of, okay, in the perfect world, if we had all the assets, if you had enough money to survive, and I'm not talking billionaire or multi-gazillionaire, I'm saying if you had enough money to live a nice, comfortable lifestyle, take care of your family, you have all debts paid off, be able to retire comfortably, travel, do all those types of things, leave a legacy. If you had all that taken care of and tomorrow you could retire, what does that look like for you? What does a 10 out of 10 look like? Going back to that wheel of life and all these different facets, and you're just going to write down everything. You're going to type out everything. And for some people, it might be words they put. Some people, they might put sentences. I even have some clients that put together sometimes vision boards because they can relate to that. And so you're going to put down what you value most in all these facets, and what does 10 out of 10 life look in all these facets. And from here, what I'm driving to is I'm looking at, okay, I can really determine what the short-term, mid-term, long-term goals are going to be for you and your family just based off these initial 2 exercises. It's a really fun exercise to do. And then what we're going to do, and especially if you're in retirement or close to retirement, then we're going to plan out your ideal week in retirement. What does that look like? This is a really fun exercise. So you might look at this and say, okay, what do I want to do during the day when I wake up? How about what's my morning routine going to be? Am I going to go to a gym? Am I going to join a yoga class? Am I going to golf? Am I going to walk on the beach? Am I going to go for a bike ride? Am I going to walk my dog? What is your purpose there, right? We'll help you flesh that out. What's your afternoon look like? Evenings and nights. So you just want to paint this picture of the perfect ideal week in retirement. So now that we have all that, short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, we have priorities. Now it's all about learning about your financial situation. So now we're looking at all the qualitative aspects of your financial plan. And so I've used this acronym in the past, but one of the acronyms I use for clients when I'm doing their financial plan, and I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here, is I use something what's called the RETIRE acronym. And selfish plug, I wrote a book, Retire on Your Terms. You can check it out on Amazon or on my website. And so we got the qualitative information. Now it's the quantitative information that we need, because in order to put together this retire wealth plan, and again, if this is you here, we have R stands for risk management. And that's just making sure we're covering all your blind spots. So do you have the proper long-term care insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, health insurance, Medicare? Do you need a Medicare gap policy? Do you have emergency funds? What happens if the stock market crashes your first 5 years in retirement? Do we have reserves? Do we know what tools we're going to use in our tool chest, essentially, when things happen? So putting together a comprehensive risk management plan. And then the E stands for expense management. So how are we properly managing cash flow before retirement and in retirement? Do we have a distribution schedule? Which accounts are we going to pull from? How many credit cards should you have? How many bank accounts should you have? When should we take Social Security? Those types of things. Then we're going to go to the T, which stands for comprehensive tax planning. So this is where it gets really fun, because I truly believe that taxes impact every single acronym here that we're going to be talking about. So it's looking at your current tax situation, your current tax return, reviewing it for opportunities, giving you observations, sometimes maybe some mistakes I might find. And then what we're doing is we're putting together a lifetime tax plan. So is there opportunity for Roth conversions? Do we need to fill up your tax-free buckets? How can we avoid IRMA charges? How can we avoid you paying more in taxes over your lifetime. And we're going to be doing that by, again, putting together a tax smart lifetime plan that really takes into account your taxable accounts, your tax deferred accounts. And if you have tax-free accounts, then we're going to want to look at those and put together a plan that makes sense for you and your specific situation. Then we're going to talk about investments. At the end of the day, investments is not the only thing I do, but investments are what really drive a lot of this as well. It's the vehicle that will get us to the goals that we have. And so it's taking a look at your entire portfolio and figuring out if you have the right investments, what is your risk tolerance, what are values potentially you want to align your money with, what strategies can we implement for you? Are we going to implement a separately managed account where we're coordinating all your different accounts, your taxable, tax-deferred, tax-free, where we can do comprehensive tax loss harvesting? Maybe you just have one account. Maybe it's a trust account. Maybe it's a work 401k. We need to figure out what to do with that. Maybe it's pensions. Maybe it's old annuities. So we're going to take a look at your investments. We're going to make recommendations based upon your financial plan, your goals that you have, and initially implement strategies that have A, been academically proven to work in the markets, and B, have decades of empirical evidence that we can present to you so that you can feel confident with the ebbs and flows of the market. So comprehensive education on investments and investment advice, making sure that you know exactly how you should be invested in the different tax locations I was talking about. Then it's the R stands for the traditional retirement planning. So what age are we going to retire? And how can we plan Social Security around it? How are we planning Medicare? Are we going to have opportunities to do some tax conversions, Roth conversions? Do we have a distribution withdrawal strategy, again, for retirement? So again, taking that comprehensive approach and aligning that with maybe some guaranteed income sources you have, pension, Social Security, maybe inheritance, annuities, things like that. And then finally, the last thing is we address the estate plan. So do you have trust in place? Do you have power of attorneys, wills, healthcare proxies? If something was to happen to you tomorrow, who's going to manage your affairs? Who's going to make decisions on your behalf? How do you want your legacy to be remembered? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? Do you want to have a ceremony? Do you want to donate your organs? Who do you want to make healthcare decisions on your behalf? Do you want to leave a bequest or an amount of money to a charity or a grandkid or direct child, right? What do you want your legacy to look like? And so we'll take a look at all these different facets and make sure that we're incorporating that into your estate plan. There could be some miscellaneous items too. Maybe there's college funding you want to plan for kids or grandkids, or maybe there's a business you want to start, or maybe something of that nature where you just want to do something completely different. And so there are a lot of instances where people have these miscellaneous topics that we can plan around, run scenarios, and all of that. So hopefully this gives you a really good sense of what it should be looking like when you hire a CFP or a financial advisor. It should be comprehensive. It should be life-centric. The first couple of meetings should really just be all about you and understanding what you're trying to accomplish with your money so that the advisor or the financial planner can figure out what's possible with your money. And are these goals even feasible? Are they attainable? Is it something we can even do? And the advisor should be direct with you and help you decide essentially what you're going to be trading off. Because at the end of the day, there's 4 things that you can invest in: your time, your energy, your money, and your talents. And usually money optimizes the other 3. So we have to figure out what your life plan looks like first before we can jump into all the numbers. So if you have questions about this, or you would like to get a plan started, or you're interested in learning more about how I do this with clients, go ahead and check out the website, wealthbeatllc.com. Feel free to book a call with me. If I can't help you, I will point you in the right direction. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.